Okay, so picture this. Forget all the museums you know with their polished trophies and masterpieces. I want you to imagine a different kind of place. Maybe a little dusty, tucked away. This is a warehouse of spectacular, expensive, and just plain weird failures. And believe it or not, inside this museum, we're going to find the secret blueprints for our future. So let's start the tour. This quote right here is basically our theme for today. The whole idea is that the biggest, most laughed out flops, they aren't just dead ends. No, they are the crucial, super expensive stepping stones for the technology we literally can't live without. All right, first up, we're heading into the hall dedicated to the ancestors of that device that's probably in your pocket right now. We're going to look at two massive flops that kind of surprisingly laid the entire groundwork for your smartphone's hardware and software. Let's kick things off with this guy, the Apple Newton from 1993. I mean, look at that thing. This was supposed to be a total revolution, a personal digital assistant that was going to make paper notebooks obsolete. And its killer feature, the thing that was going to change everything, handwriting recognition. So why did it fail so hard? Well, for starters, that amazing handwriting recognition was awful. It was so bad, it literally became a running gag on The Simpsons. You'd write something simple like lunch with mom, and it would translate it to launch the moon. On top of that, it cost a fortune, was way too big to actually fit in your pocket, and, let's be honest, it looked kinda goofy. But here's the twist. The Newton's failure wasn't the end of the story. See, to even try to make this thing work, Apple needed a whole new kind of computer chip, one that was powerful but didn't suck the battery dry in 10 minutes. That problem, led directly to the creation of what we now know as ARM processors. And today, those exact chips are the engines inside virtually every single smartphone on Earth, including, the iPhone. The Newton had to die so the iPhone could live. But it wasn't just the hardware that had to fail to build your phone. Let's look at a true software disaster, Microsoft Bob. Back in 1995, Bill Gates got this idea that computers were just too scary for people. His solution was, well, this, an interface that looks like a cartoon living room. You wouldn't click on icons, you'd click on a cartoon clock or a notepad on a table. People hated it. I mean, they absolutely despised it. They said it felt patronizing, like it was designed for a toddler. I mean, why would you want to navigate a clumsy cartoon house just to open a document? Critics just tore it to shreds, and Microsoft pulled the plug in about a year. It really seemed like a totally useless idea. But hang on, look a little closer. See that cartoon dog, Rover? His whole job was to try and understand what you wanted and offer help. Sound familiar? The code behind Rover eventually evolved into, you guessed it, the infamous Clippy from Microsoft Word. And yeah, we all hated Clippy too, but it was the industry's first really clumsy attempt at a digital assistant. The failure of Bob taught designers that we don't want a cartoon sidekick. We want an invisible, smart voice. It paved the entire road for Siri and Alexa. So that's the DNA of your phone's guts and brains. Now let's move on. Our second exhibit is all about the painful, sometimes literally nauseating, journey toward virtual and augmented reality. Let's meet the ghosts of wearable computing. It's a fair question, right? I mean, if a piece of tech is physically painful to use, how can it possibly lead to anything good? Well, let's take a look at the undisputed king of headache-inducing tech, the Nintendo Virtual Boy. This thing came out in 1995, and it was supposed to be the first big mainstream VR gaming console. The problem? The tech just wasn't there yet. To keep costs down, the screen was only in black and this really jarring bright red. It was notorious for giving people splitting headaches and making them feel sick within minutes. Oh, and you couldn't even wear it. You had to hunch over a table to use it. It is widely considered one of the worst consoles ever made. Period. But was it a complete waste? Absolutely not. The Virtual Boy was basically a sacrificial lamb. Its epic, painful failure gave the entire industry a crystal clear checklist of what not to do. It proved that for VR to even have a chance, it had to be comfortable, it needed high frame rates, and it needed full color. It set the bar for quality that future pioneers, like Oculus, knew they had to clear. All right, let's jump to a more recent failure. And this one's different because the technology was actually pretty impressive. I'm talking about Google Glass. This time, the problem wasn't technical, it was social. So Google Glass put a camera and a screen right there, in your line of sight. And the public reaction was, well, it wasn't good. People felt super uncomfortable. They were constantly wondering, is that person recording me right now? It created this weird social wall, and wearers quickly earned the not-so-flattering nickname, glassholes. The whole glasshole phenomenon taught the tech industry a massive lesson. For augmented reality to work in public, the hardware has to be subtle. It has to be fashionable and socially okay. It can't make other people feel weird. This failure pushed designers to focus on making smart glasses that look like, well, just normal glasses. Okay, so we've gone from failures in our pockets to failures on our faces. For our final section, we're looking at inventions that burned through billions of dollars and promised to completely change our cities, from how we get around to how we get our groceries. You have to remember the hype around the Segway back in 2001. It was insane. This thing was supposed to be bigger than the PC. It was going to replace the car, but the reality? It was a $5,000 curiosity that was too fast for sidewalks but too slow for roads. It pretty quickly just became a punchline and the official vehicle of mall cops everywhere. But here's the thing. The technology inside it was pure genius. The Segway perfected gyroscopic self-balancing, and while the product itself was a commercial flop, that core tech, that became the foundation for the entire micromobility revolution. Every single e-scooter and hoverboard you see zipping around cities today owes its existence to the Segway's very expensive research and development. Let's talk about our next failure. And to do that, I want you to just look at this number for a second. $800 million. That is how much cash a company called Webvan burned through in just a couple of years. So, during the height of the dot-com bubble, Webvan promised the moon. Groceries delivered to your door in 30 minutes. It sounded amazing. They raised a ton of money, built these massive, futuristic automated warehouses, bought a whole fleet of custom trucks, and in 2001, they went spectacularly bankrupt. It's still remembered as one of the biggest dot-com busts of all time. But their failure was actually a blueprint. The engineers at Webvan basically invented the logistics for modern e-commerce. So when they went under, a much smaller online bookstore called Amazon came along, hired their people, and studied every single one of their mistakes. You could say Webvan paid the massive tuition fee so that Amazon could learn how to do online delivery the right way. So as we leave our museum, we're left with this really powerful idea. The future isn't some clean, straight highway. No, it's more like a road that's literally paved with the wreckage of ambitious ideas. Every glitch, every bankruptcy, it's all a crucial piece of data for whatever comes next. Just think about it for a second. That device in your hand is a collage of past failures, all pasted together in just the right way. It's got the processing power that started with the Newton, a conversational AI that was born from the failure of Microsoft Bob, and it connects you to a delivery network that was built on the ashes of Webvan. Your phone is, quite literally, a pocket-sized museum of magnificent mistakes. And that leaves us with one final thought. If you really want to know what the next big thing is going to be, don't just look at what's already successful. No. Find the ambitious, expensive, clunky thing that everyone is making fun of right now, because that, almost certainly, is where the future is hiding.
Please like and subscribe.